Hello, hello, hello. Whoa, what an audience we have today for the first annual Stupid Awards in fake archaeology. It is an absolute honor to be presenting these awards. It's time to keep raising awareness to the fact that fake archaeology is stupid. Like, absolutely mind numbingly dumb.
We actually had some geology training, but you know what they call that? I know you've heard the word, but autodidactic. It's a great word. It's a great word that sounds like not what it is. Like,
Like a pterodactyl.
yeah, I mean, you're autodidactic. Actually one of the most autodidactic people I've ever encountered.
I'm sorry.
You're incredibly knowledgeable.
Yes, Dan there has the brains of an autodidactic pterodactyl. Let's say that 3 times fast. Autodidactic pterodactyl, autodidactic pterodactyl, autodidactic pterodactyl. There we go. That's how you pronounce that stuff, George Howard. All right. Fun and games are over, or actually, they're just getting started. Welcome back to Archaeology with Flint Dibble. I am Flint Dibble, and as a real archaeologist who shares my love for archaeology on YouTube, I will be acting as the nominating committee, the jury, the judge, and the announcer for the stupidest of the stupid fake archaeology from the year 2025. And guess what? If you don't like that, you're stupid too. Okay, so there was a whole lot of stupid fake archaeology last year, like a whole lot. So let's clear the air here. Some people think that exposing the sheer level of fucking donkey brainedness in this crowd is just clout chasing.
There on the internet is a class of parasite. And that class of parasite looks for people who have got some level of recognition, who have perhaps large numbers of followers, who've become prominent in some way. And then the technique is to attack that person in every possible way you can, to insult them, to try to humiliate them. And this is
All right, as a card carrying internet parasite myself, I want to be clear. You are absolutely right, Graham. I am not out here humiliating idiots who don't have followers. That would be pointless. I will stick to only humiliating lying grifters that lots of other gullible idiots are flocking to, like yourself, Because the stupid awards here are not just about attacking idiots. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not only about attacking idiots. They're also about the negative impact that mind numbingly dumb pseudoscience is having on our society. And look, let's be honest here, exposing this stupidity has a purpose. Knowledge is power. And knowing that this stupidity exists gives us the power to mock it. Side note, mocking it is not only fun in games, it also helps us disempower these imbeciles. Because guess what? Fake archaeology influencers are stupid. Like, really, really, really fucking stupid. You just have to pay attention to what they're actually saying, think it through, and then you notice just how stupid it is, right?
Same.
Yeah, Fingerprints of the Gods, amazing book.
From Art Bellis, who told me about it.
Yeah, I remember my wife was like, "You should read like real archaeology." I'm like, "No, this is fucking interesting shit."
Why should, is your wife a scientist or something?
No, she's just a little more serious than me.
Yeah, my wife,
a little smarter than me.
same, same.
But it's like I still to this day will pick up those books and read them, and it's like I do not think that modern archaeology has the full story.
Jesus Christ, these fake archaeology influencers are so goddamn stupid that the real mystery is not our history, it's how they avoid learning anything about it. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, go read a book, man. So, all right, let's get to our awards. We've got a few fun categories to get through before we get to the big old stupid award of the year. First up is the absolutely stupidest, mind-numbingly aching of all of the AI archaeology slop that is flooding our internet. This is actually a stiff competition. There is some real half-assed AI slop out there. It's overwhelming the interwebs all around us as we speak. Oh my God. Why? Why does this even exist? And guess what? This video has nearly 3 million views. And it's actually it's amazing. It answers two fundamental questions about archaeology at the exact same time. Number one, who built the pyramids? And number two, what is the Smithsonian hiding? By the way, the answer to both of these questions is you're a fucking idiot, okay? Look, Milo Rossi, known as Mini Minuteman, has an excellent video about this phenomenon of AI slop in archaeology. And I fully agree with him about why archaeology and history are just so perfect for spreading AI misinformation.
I also think there's something interesting in how AI conspiracies are really easy to do for archaeological stuff, not only because of the public's general lack of understanding in it, but also because so much of it is so like crunchy and gnarly and dirty looking anyway, that a lot of the imperfections that AI creates can sort of be glossed over in your mind.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think this is a really good point here. I think people are not familiar with archaeology, so it's easy to not realize all the mistakes in AI archaeology. But okay, let's move on to who might win this award. And as the sole judge and jury here of these absolutely stupid award show that you're all watching, I have to admit I'm a bit biased. I tend to think that the Flint Drivel account, which is a deep fake of me, is worthy of consideration for the award. Tell me what you think down below.
Have debated you every day inside my head for the last 5 years. And guess what? I won every exchange. I'm literally your worst nightmare. You should be glad I've spared you.
I mean, this dude like looks and sounds kind of like me, doesn't he? Like, this is pretty scary. I don't even know whether to be what, like honored or what. This dude is just posting regular deep fake videos of me like every day on Twitter and on his YouTube, which, is just insane.
So I brought you both here to find some common ground, and I think it's time to move on and stop attacking each other. So let's start with you, Flint. Is there anything you want to say to Jimmy? No, stop it. Don't do that. Just
Got that
stop
right.
it. Stop it, guys. You cannot fight in here.
Oh my God, this attention is. I don't know whether to laugh or to cry about the fact that this is the world we live in right now, because this is just amazeballs crazy, okay?
So, I just discovered a leaked trailer for Ancient Apocalypse Season 3, and it's quite unsettling. So, let's play it, and then let me share my analysis of the problem.
It's time to once and for all to tell that woke little midget that he can shove his corrupted archaeology up his ass. Flint Dibble, he's coming for you.
Well, I wish I could say that I'm surprised, but we all knew this was coming. Graham is literally going to focus his whole next series on attacking me in every episode. This is insane. What the hell is going on in this guy's head? This is what happens when science is ignored.
So, okay, I don't even know where to go with this. Oh, look, it's an absolute honor for someone to be so obsessed with me, to put so much work into this AI parody. But the reality is that this dude, Flint Drivel, is just not really getting many views. These videos have only a few dozen or so on them. So I got to say, I think the winner of the stupidest AI and fake archaeology has to go to something that has a larger impact, okay? And so, yeah, the winner in terms of impact and just outright AI zaniness has got to be this video on YouTube. It has 44 million views. Yes, you heard me right. This AI slop video has more views than most countries have people living in them. It's nuts. It's titled Life 4.7 million years ago. How did prehistoric humans survive to sustain life? And it's on the AI channel. I think they only have AI videos called Hominid History Hub. This channel has over 400,000 subscribers. And the whole video has no dialogue. It's just this group of hominids fighting off a giant snake. Let's fast forward a second. Here, we got the hominid getting some eggs. Notice that the hominid changes form in like every scene. It's a completely different character. The teeth and the fur and the belly even. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. It gets wild. Snake's returning home. Boom. Here, let's make myself a little bigger. There's the hominid sleeping. Uh-oh. Snake's coming up. Oh my god! I can't believe. Oh my god. No. He's gonna die. I swear to god, I swear to god, this is terrible. This is the silliest, stupidest thing I've ever seen. Run! Run! Look, it's a completely different dude. It's a completely different dude. Yeah! Bash that snake good! I really don't know what to say. This world is absolutely stupid. Fake archaeology is stupid. AI is stupid. But a huge congratulations to Hominid History Hub for this. You have won the award for the stupidest AI fake archaeology video of 2025. Because you know what? In the words of the amazing R.M. Brown, views equals news. And 44 million of them is a whole lot of stupidness that you have spread into our world. All right. I've had enough of this fake AI shit. Let's get to some real brick-brained fucking idiocy, okay? I mean, don't get me wrong. What's coming up is still fake, but it's not AI fake, okay? In this case, it's so real that it's actually in person. Our next category coming up is the stupidest fake archaeology conference of the year. Because the reality is that fake archaeology fans are so fucking stupid that they won't read free papers written by scholars, but they will fly halfway across the world for a conspiracy theory keynote speech. Yeah. And believe me, last year there were a few standouts for the stupidest, the absolute mind-numbingly dumbest of all of these conferences. So look, an honorable mention goes to the so-called Quest for Ancient Civilizations. This conference, which took place in December, is absolutely mockable. It started off with super high hopes. The early bird prices of over $1,000 for VIP access and front row seats for the speakers and everything like that. And you know what? Everything after that just seemed to go downhill. Graham Hancock made the announcement he wasn't going to be going in person. He'd be presenting remotely. The prices ended up completely slashed like in half, I think, by the week before the conference. And as Dr. Dan Fallu pointed out, it sure seems as if there were fewer audience members than presenters. Dan counted something like 29 people in the audience at a conference for 54 presenters. So yeah, this was a failure, guys. This was an absolute failure. Perhaps even stupider was the conference that Graham Hancock organized in Sedona in Arizona called the Fight for the Past. It was held on the double holiday of April 20th, which conveniently was on Easter Sunday. I mean, man, what's a better way to celebrate 420 Easter than avoiding your family and spending $420 to hang out with a bunch of fake archaeology Egypts? Like, don't get me wrong. I've toked a bit in my past too, but I know that rabbits don't lay eggs, man. And I know enough not to listen to grifting shit for brains about archaeology. And so, look, I saw this online. I saw this tweet by Dan the Dedunker where his shirt reads, "Two different flints, both are tools, but only one is useful." So after I saw this shirt, which he wore on stage at this conference, I nicknamed it the Flint Bashing Event, which, let's be absolutely honest, that's what it was. The fight for the past. Graham, he even set this up in order to reclaim his core following after our debate by bashing me heavily throughout this conference.
Vicious attacks, and from the same group of people. John Hoops at Kansas University, Flint Dibble at the University of Cardiff. And here's a little bit of a clip from Flint's derisive attitude towards a very serious researcher. Flint Dibble attacking Ancient Apocalypse. Flint Dibble, of course, got in on the act, and actually they gave Flint Dibble an award, the Occam Award, for precisely for debating me on the Joe Rogan Show.
Again, listening to Flint Dibble is a great way to put your foot in your mouth. Let me be real clear about this. Flint, Dan Fallu, a bunch of these assholes, if you talk to them, they're science educators. They will lie to the public about the science in order to save Flint Dibble's face. When you go back 40 years, you didn't see dumbasses like Flint Dibble putting their foot in their mouth and
Hey, dumbass, given your 420 vibes, it's pretty big coincidence that I was mentioned 42 times. All for the low, low price of $420. You can go listen to an old man whine about me. So much fucking fun. What a conference. Wow.
if they can get Graham Hancock to spend enough time fighting with the Flint Dibbles, then we don't get Ancient Apocalypse Season 3.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
fuck those guys. Sorry.
It's
Sorry.
it's very much about that.
I would say mission fucking accomplished. The only season 3 I've heard about is on that stupid AI Flint Drivel channel. So yeah, huge success, common Flint WA. But yeah, the Flint Dibble bashing event does not win our prize for stupidest fake archaeology conference of the year. The winner in this category is, drumroll please, the Cosmic Summit 2025. Now look, this event was beyond stupid. I covered it in depth with the host of the Pseudo-Archaeology podcast, Dr. Andrew Kinkella. And unlike the other conferences, this one had an impact. Heck, it was covered on the local news even.
Largest collection of Egyptian antiques in North Carolina are in Greensboro this weekend. This is part of the Cosmic Summit, which runs through Monday. During the conference, the Gate City will host more than 400 attendees from 40 states and 7 countries for this one-of-a-kind conference exploring ancient mysteries, heterodox science, and catastrophic history.
The Cosmic Summit's in its 3rd year and 2nd year in Greensboro. It's an unconventional history conference. We look into things like who really built the pyramids, when were they really built, how'd you move those big stones, did ancient technologies exist before we acknowledged that they did?
Ay. Fake archaeologists are so fucking stupid that they'll pay hundreds of dollars to hear the same stupid idea that they've already heard on YouTube. In person, though! Oh my God! And believe me, this conference was absolutely filled with the brightest of the brightest stars in the fake archaeology universe. Here is one of the presenters, Ashton Forbes.
What up, fam? Headed to Cosmic Summit. Can't believe I'm getting on another airplane. I really hope there's no semiconductor engineers on my airplane. I might just make an announcement at the beginning and be like, hey guys, anyone here doing advanced microchip technology? I might get the next one. Anyway, guys, look forward to seeing you guys in Greensboro, North Carolina. Take it easy.
Hey guys, I'm a fucking idiot. I don't like semiconductor engineers. Look, these cognitively impoverished dimwits did their best though to try and appear smart. In fact, they had a genius idea about how to do so. Ding, 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 wear Flint Dibble masks. Just look at these absolute smarties. They absolutely exude an aura of intelligence. I mean, this might be the first time that Randall Carlson has ever appeared even half intelligent. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, this did not work. This event was absolutely shit for brains dumb. Low IQ people only. Like, wow. And what's funny is that on social media, these dimwits who attended, they mocked another convention in the exact same hotel, one devoted to lifelike baby dolls. But the reality is that these fake archaeologists are the ones who win the stupid prize here. Hands down, they are so stupid, these fake archaeologists. So here, for example, is one of the presenters. I'm sorry the audio on this is not great, but here's Dr. Robert Schock boring the audience with some insightful observations.
Here, I don't think this is just a cop out as they've gone, but look how similar it is to the configurations you would see in the sky during major solar outbursts.
Yeah, man, that's just a cow palate, okay? You know, ancient people like to depict cows and bulls and oxen and sometimes sheep and goats and pigs and dogs and stuff like that. You know, they've done it for 30,000 years or more, man. And so I'm sorry that all the audio from this conference is so low quality. I'd love to play more clips, but they're just tough on the ears. And in fact, this was a big issue for the people who were watching online because they were treated to some real nice audio glitches. Here's conference organizer George Howard, and no, this is not my audio that's the problem. This is him. Yeah, his lips are moving. Can you hear what he's saying? Let's look at the comments. Sound. I can't hear you. I can't believe they charged money for people to stream this crap. I seriously cannot believe this. But look, it was actually a reasonably well-attended event. You know, like you can see this talk by Filippo Biondi, and it's the audience, it's absolutely packed, as you can see. Views equal news. That's impact, right? And look, but not all of the talks by these people cosplaying as archaeologists were so well attended. Like, for example, here's Dan Richards. He's like, look at me. I'm the archaeologist now, bitches. And, you know, the reality is he's so proud of this. But look, is there anybody there? Another view? Yeah, the room is absolutely empty. Like, poor Danny boy. You're never going to succeed as a cranially vacant grifter. Jesus. I'm guessing most of the people that were not in his audience skipped out on his talk to go spend money at the booths in the event hall, you know, where they were treated to a wide range of wondrous frauds and lies, the wonders of the universe, the evolution of Earth. The Earth is evolving. What does this even mean? The creatures on Earth are evolving, you idiots. But like any conference, the real impact was for the people that were in the audience. Okay, you know, in the minds of those who attended. It's real clear here that Jay Anderson and his fans are seriously onto something with this sketch here. You know, so there's a gate and then there's subwoofers. Like, you know, man, this is how they built the pyramids. Yeah. They got high on an ounce of purple kush in the house and a half ounce of primo flint dibble. They dropped some beats. Those blocks went up, and up. Yeah, subwoofers and pyramids in the house. Yeah! Party in the Cosmic Summit. So, yeah. Congrats to Cosmic Summit 2025. You have won the award for the stupidest fake archaeology conference of the year. I hear they're going to be doing a 2026 event. Can they repeat? Can they repeat and win 2026? We will find out soon. Okay. Let's take a quick break from these awards to honor a giant in the field of fake archaeology. Recently, we were absolutely devastated to hear of the passing of Erich von Däniken. You know, the ancient aliens guy, Chariots of the Gods, the guy who coined the whole term of the gods that like Graham Hancock and others rip off. Look, Erich von Däniken's name will not be forgotten, nor will his words.
You see, in science, normally you go to the next logical and simple answer. But the next logical and simple answer is always a question of the zeitgeist, the spirit of time. Today, you look at it with this eyes. Maybe tomorrow, you look at it with other eyes. In the past, we had a translation concerning the prophet Ezekiel in the Bible, which was made religiously. We believe he had a vision that was logical at that time. He saw a chariot of the gods. He saw the God, Almighty God, sitting in his throne and flying around in the clouds. In the meantime, this explanation is not logical anymore. The next logical and simple answer is he really had an extraterrestrial experience.
Yes, a true paragon of science and logic. After all, why interpret a religious book through the lens of religion? It's so obviously about extraterrestrial aliens visiting Ezekiel. Come on. Look, it's a shame really for von Däniken. He was ahead of his time. Could you imagine how successful he'd be in this era of lying frauds and gullible idiots? Oh my God, he'd be raking in even more dough. It would be just amazing. Okay, back to the award show. Rest in peace. So, what do we have next? We've got a few more good categories to go. Let's see what we got. Up next is the stupidest fucking coward of the year. Fake archaeology is filled with a bunch of cowardly men who like to talk shit while being pretty dumb about it. They usually refuse to put their money where their mouth is, okay? The runner-up for Coward of the Year is definitely our good old friend, Joseph Rogan. He started off the year by ghosting me. I emailed him to go back and respond to the absolutely stupid accusations that I lied during my debate with Graham Hancock.
Awesome. Fantastic information. But before we do anything, I think we should probably address what we know now about the debate that you had with Flint Dibble.
Yeah.
That was the last time we were here. I appreciate that he came on, and I thought it was going to be an interesting discussion, but it turned out he played fast and loose with the truth. And
I appreciate that you had me on, Joe, but it turns out you're a fucking fraud who will just backtrack and start insulting me repeatedly. In fact, that's what you did for the first half of this year. You just insulted me every other episode, it seemed like, culminating in this. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Archaeology with Flint Dibble. Let's dig in right away to what our favorite podcaster, good old Joe Rogan, said about me last week.
the Flint Dibble approach. That guy embodies what you don't like about academia. You see him physically, he embodies it. It's like that's what it is. It's these weak men, these weird, kind of bitchy, weak men.
Hey there, Joe. I just found out yesterday that you ridiculed my appearance in front of millions of people on your podcast. Here I am. I have had for the last, 6 hours in the hospital to consider this while I get treated for my stage 4 cancer with an infusion. You know that I've been fighting cancer for the last 4 years. You've mentioned it to millions of people on your podcast.
Joe Rogan, you're a coward who calls a cancer fighter weak. So look, yeah, I have stage 4 cancer. I still do. I'm still being treated for it. But you know what? This whole situation is absolutely hilarious because there's all these fucking Joe bros out there telling me that he didn't insult me physically. He meant my academic self or some bullshit like that. And it's like, he specifically said physically, okay? Just like he thinks I'm a liar when I cited all my sources on his stupid podcast. Why are these smooth-brained fucking idiots so stupid? Seriously. And guess what? This is actually kind of interesting. After I called him out, he actually apologized to me. Now, don't get me wrong. It might be the weakest, stupidest apology I've ever heard. But I guess an apology is an apology. I mean, he didn't really do it to me. He should do it to my face. But let's hear what he has to say, okay?
Just stop making fun of retarded children on the internet because they have families. Well, we do sometimes, but I've had to apologize to multiple families of mentally handicapped people because we've done bits on the show. And I mean,
who are these guys?
Where they would come to me and be like, what is wrong with you? This is like a child that has Down syndrome. We're like, we have no idea that they.
But then they get on the phone with Lewis and they're like, I didn't mind. It was funny.
The problem is,
didn't that happen? Didn't someone say to you? They were like, I know you're kidding.
Well, no, the twice now that happened, and both times I ended up becoming very friendly with the family. They came out to see me at shows. They brought the kid.
Oh, now it's your burden.
Because
that's the problem. Is like you're saying things with your friends like you would normally say,
Right.
Yeah.
but then you don't realize.
Ron Bennington calls it corner talk. Just corner talk with the guys.
But there's a real person on the end of these stories sometimes,
Exactly.
and that's the thing. The only thing that's changed is I think in the beginning we would just say whatever. There'd be a silly story, and now I'm going like, well, all right, is this person going to hear this? And it's just a normal person who's like, their parents are raising a special needs kid. This is a tough enough life as it is.
Buddy, I felt terrible. Last time I came in here, when you talked about, I was like, hey, there's that video going around of that girl freaking out. And I was just going like, yeah, it's just like, she wasn't ready for this moment, but I didn't say the name on purpose. And there's so many videos on the internet that are like, Jay takes a shit on this girl.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's not what I did.
Well,
We know what he's thinking.
Sometimes you say things because you're just talking, and then
Sure.
you realize, like, God, that other person's going to hear that. I did that recently, and I'd like to apologize to this guy. There's this guy named Flint Dibble.
You
who's
could
an
apologize to
archaeologist,
me.
And I said, he attacks other archaeologists like Graham Hancock, and he says some
Graham
terrible
Hancock's
things.
not an
But what I did
archaeologist.
was very counterproductive. What I said was like these weak, bitchy men, and I named him. I'm like, and then he tweeted about it. He said, I have stage 4 cancer. And I'm like, fucking forgot he had cancer. I didn't mean him physically. I meant his behavior. But it made me feel bad.
You
So
said physically, you
I
asshole.
want to tell him I was wrong. What I said, I shouldn't have said. There's sometimes I say things and I just think I'm talking with friends. And I realize it's going to hurt someone's feelings on the other. And it's counterproductive. Like, I'm doing the exact thing I'm accusing him of doing. He's attacking other people. I'm attacking him. It's stupid.
Look, Joe, let's be clear here. First of all, you and your friends are fucking terrible people, disgusting, stupid clowns. Second of all, you have your chance to apologize. Fucking have me on and say it in person if you're going to man up to it. Don't say I want to apologize to him to other people. You are clearly way too chicken to sit down with me again after this giant embarrassment. So you know what? Good luck with that, little dude. Good luck. And you know what? The reality is Joe's actually not the biggest coward of the year when it comes to fake archaeology and when it comes to debating me and shit like that. This honor actually goes to our good old friend, Mr. Graham Hancock. As I've started tweeting about lately, 2 different major media organizations have invited us on for another debate, or at least a conversation, to sit down face to face, hash out our differences. In both cases, I accepted. Graham, however, has in both cases chickened the fuck out. And so I called him out on this recently on Twitter, and he just posted his reply to me, basically saying I've been boasting and preening for 2 years that I won the debate. And he says on March 10th, I accused him of cowardice and a lack of integrity and claimed that he rejected 2 different offers to go face-to-face with me on major international media outlets. From whence came the 2 different offers for him to go face-to-face with me in a second debate? When and where were those offers made? And in what way, where did he reject these offers? I got receipts on one of them. Okay, one of them I've just heard through the grapevines. So I don't have receipts on it. But I got receipts on one of them. Let's see what's going on, because the reality is that my receipts are going to show that he's just a dirty liar, okay? An absolute liar is Graham Hancock. So, as I put it, I did not ask for a second round. It was Piers Morgan and his team that offered it. I accepted. And then after I accepted, what happened? I got ghosted and Graham Hancock was on there without me. Clearly, he was too much of a coward to accept another conversation. Remember when he called John Hoops a coward? And so his reply is, seriously? Is this all you've got, Flint? I have the correspondence regarding my 2 appearances on Piers Morgan's show, and they have never asked me to take part in a debate with you. On the contrary, they were quite specific that they wanted me to appear alone on both occasions. So let's see. He's not released his correspondence. I have released my correspondence. Here it is. To Flint Dibble, from someone from Piers Morgan Uncensored.media. Hello, Prof. Blank from Piers here. How would you feel about debating Graham Hancock? Hope you're well. This was the email I got in September of last year. After some back and forth in October, the same editor of Piers Morgan Uncensored said, it's no problem. I'll reach out to Graham and Blank, both of whom have done Piers before, so it could still be a good conversation. Great. Then silence for a few weeks, and I say to the editor, I guess Graham is still too chicken to talk with me again, eh? And the reply is, no, not at all. We have reached out, but we have yet to hear. If we do, he would obviously get the second seat. So it's pretty clear, Graham, that guess what? You are lying. After all of these emails, the end result was that he ended up on Piers Morgan by himself a couple of days before Christmas. So he convinced Piers and his team to not only have him on alone, but he ensured that I didn't go on at all, because the other option for that episode, they ghosted me on it. They have ghosted me. And behold, 2 days before Christmas, December 23rd, 2025, here we go.
And then secondly, archaeology has got a very weighing, measuring, and counting approach to evidence. And that's fine, and that's really necessary. But my problem with that is that I don't think that archaeologists should have a monopoly on the interpretation of the past. And I don't think that they should regard others' interpretations of the past as necessarily inferior to their own.
Yeah. We have such an effective monopoly on interpreting the past that you're able to appear on major media outlets without any critics there. We are clearly silencing you, Graham. What a stupid fucking liar you are. I've caught you red-handed. You say you have correspondence. I have correspondence that makes it clear. They invite me for a debate with you. They tell me they will reach out to you. They tell me they did reach out to you. Where's your correspondence? So you know what? Congratulations, Graham Hancock. You are the biggest coward in all of fake archaeology for 2025. I will absolutely continue to haunt your nightmares and make you look like an absolute fool, because that's what you are, a fucking lying fraud, man. Man, I can't believe he so obviously lied to me. What a fucking idiot. Okay, so we have 2 more categories left. Next up is the stupidest new claim of the year. And let's be honest here, there are not usually many new claims in the field of fake archaeology. David Miano actually has a fantastic recent video about how and why fake archaeology is so intellectually vacuous and stagnant.
I want to address the phenomenon in general. Despite its recent resurgence in popularity, it has become stagnant and sterile. Alternative archaeology is a scientific dead end. And that's because it's based on feelings, not facts.
Look, fake archaeologists are so fucking stupid that the only things older than their lost civilization are their long debunked claims. They just repeat the same shit over and over again. Everything Graham Hancock is saying has been said before. Nothing new, nothing original, etc. Same thing with all these YouTubers. But you know what? 2025 was therefore a special year, because we got to see a new archaeology conspiracy theory born in real time, appearing fully formed out of the head of Zeus. We got a pretty interesting new conspiracy theory, and we got to see how it spread through the etherwebs, right? And what I'm talking about, of course, is those supposed coils under the pyramids that were presented by Doctors Corrado Malanga and Filippo Biondi in March. This shit went absolutely viral, mostly thanks to InfoWars at first and a few Twitter influencers, and then Joe Rogan and the other fake archaeology crowd starting to boost it throughout the year. Here we go. This is this guy, Greg Reese, is associated with InfoWars. Let's see what he has.
A recent press release on their current project was released last Saturday. This March 15th press release summarized the key findings in the team's research of the second largest pyramid of the Giza Plateau, known as the Khafre Pyramid. And what they found was astonishing. The analysis of dozens of tomographic SAR images obtained from different angles enabled the 3D reconstruction of inside the pyramid of Khafre and deep beneath the surface of the plateau. Near the base of the pyramid, 5 identical structures are seen, connected by geometric pathways. Inside each of these are 5 horizontal levels and a sloping roof. Below these 5 structures are 8 cylindrical structures, which appear to be vertical wells, hollow inside, and surrounded by descending spiral pathways. These 8 vertically aligned cylindrical structures, arranged in 2 parallel rows from north to south, descend to a depth of 648 meters, where they all merge into 2 large cubic structures. measuring approximately 80 meters per side. The entire structure extends approximately 2 kilometers beneath the surface and extends beneath all 3 pyramids of the Giza Plateau complex.
Oh my God, look at this stuff. It's so convincing. It extends below all 3 of the major pyramids at Giza. Wow. Look, the reality is that fake archaeologists are so fucking stupid that they think Egyptians could not stack rocks, but they apparently can build an underground power grid 2 kilometers below the surface. Yeah, they can't build the pyramids, but they can excavate this out. You have to be kidding me. So look, I've covered this fraud extensively. Go see my recent video from December where I put together several strands that conclusively and absolutely smash this bullshit into the ground. There are several key reasons why we know that's not true. I've had on several experts, satellite remote sensing experts, radar experts, Italian archaeologists that have given me the background on everything, and they all agree that this would not work. As well, there's the fact that there's a thermal gradient underground. It gets hotter the deeper you go. So that deep underground, 2 kilometers, would be 60 degrees Celsius or 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So this is absolutely a nothing burger. But the biggest point that I've been making since a few days after this fake news was announced is that scholars have extensively studied the hydrogeology of the Giza Plateau. Look at what I said back in March. This is what the geology of the Giza Plateau looks like. It has been extensively and intensively studied through actual excavation, through a wide range of remote sensing methods, from electronic resistance to magnetometry to ground penetrating radar. Scholars have done a wide range of different studies for different reasons in order to understand this. And so these pyramids are built on solid bedrock. There's no major voids underneath them. Furthermore, we've excavated and explored these pyramids fairly extensively. We know that people actually carved, the ancient Egyptians carved chambers and passages into this bedrock. So we see that it is carved out of solid bedrock, both for the Great Pyramid and for the Khafre Pyramid. We have passages and chambers carved directly out of the bedrock underneath these pyramids. So where the hell is the voids, the giant voids where Empire State Building sized columns could be? This is sort of something that this team has to deal with, is the huge amount of evidence we have for the geology and even the excavation of parts of this bedrock by the ancient Egyptians. Second of all, we have a good understanding of the hydrology of it. And for example, the water table is just not that low. If, for example, more recent studies have looked at ancient water tables and where there's Nile branches, for example, Shisha et al. In 2022, and have shown how there was a branch of the Nile, the Khufu branch, that extended all the way up to the pyramids. So, you know, the water table was quite high in the period of the ancient Egyptians, and it still is quite high. This is a photo from 1880, right at Giza Plateau, with the Nile flooding up quite next to it. And then this is explorations of the hydrology of the entire Giza Plateau, showing at the depth at which there is natural groundwater. So the groundwater table underneath, and we actually know that there's groundwater not very deep underneath the pyramids. And along the Giza Plateau, we've actually done ERT, not me, but these are teams that are actually managing Giza. They want to understand the water, the water table, so they can understand how, for example, the Sphinx erodes in today's period, because the Sphinx is still eroding, as are many of the monuments there. The last time I was at Giza, it rained. So, you know, understanding how to manage this sensitive terrain is important. And so we have a good understanding of the hydrology and the depth of the water table. And it's not very deep. It's not 2 kilometers down. There's water there. So how are there megastructures built 2 kilometers underneath the water table? Look, these megastructures, or as the team first called it, an underground city, would be entirely underwater. My point from a year ago still stands, and I will keep joking that they be occupied by mermaids and tritons. This team of pseudoscientists is basing everything on a new technology that has never, ever been proven to work.
But to do something and then almost willfully misinterpret it, like I could get any satellite imagery to look almost any way I wanted with enough manipulation. I am that good at it. And it scares me because that's why I'm so careful. I never misinterpret, because you calculate things with the software, with weighing pixels, with, oh, well, you don't see anything there, but trust me, it's there, right? Because it's the guise of the expert. So I think that's what these guys, they've done. They've willfully misinterpreted the data. And the satellite imagery, SAR data can't see through rock, period. The end.
There you go. Dr. Sarah Parcak, who wrote the friggin' textbook on satellite remote sensing for archaeology, thinks they are, quote, willfully misinterpreting their data, end quote. SAR data cannot see through rock. SAR data has been used for many decades. It's not something new. But Biondi and Malanga have had plenty of time to publish their methods and their results to an audience of their peers. Both of them have many peer-reviewed publications. They have PhDs, and they used to be academics before going off the deep end and becoming pseudoscientists. Yet, instead of publishing their data and their methods, they are going on crank podcasts and talking about this BS. Hell, they haven't even done any of the reading on the literature for the geology and the archaeology at Giza. They never even considered the well-published Giza water table until I started debunking them on it. They've only first talked about it just in this last week. Here's an interview from a week ago with Filippo Biondi and Jesse Michaels finally talking about the water table at Giza.
Look, the water levels,
This up at the top.
Yeah, got it. Okay. So you, Filippo, would you admit now that you didn't know about exactly where the water level was back then, or
no.
Okay.
We can make mistakes. No?
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Probably is the water level.
Of course.
But no, because the water level is now
It's much higher.
Can I ask
Here.
a dumb question? Because a lot of this is prefaced on this idea of these structures being man-made and artificial. And so, two questions. You don't know.
No, we don't know.
We don't know. But they.
No, I've just been talking about
a lot of the speculation around them is around.
My best is we know they are man-made.
But if it's an artificial structure, how would you build something that penetrates that deeply into the water table?
And you asked to me?
Yeah.
Okay, you are asking me this?
Yeah.
No,
Have you speculated about that? I mean, you have to have thought of it. Or...
It is something that I discussed about this issue with Corrado.
Okay.
And we agree that it is something that it is man-made. Okay, so somebody built those things there.
Mm-hmm.
It can be that once the pyramids were built, so from the top, maybe they dig it on the bottom,
But wait a second. If they did that, we have solid bedrock underneath the pyramid. So how are they digging a hole there? We know there's solid bedrock there. But go on.
They are not simply holes.
Mm-hmm.
They are built. How can?
Yeah, how can you say they are built? What do you mean this is underground? How is it built?
But if they're 20 meters in diameter and they're going a kilometer deep,
yes,
then I'm going with aliens. Like how do we explain that? That's pretty. I know. It feels harder to explain than the construction of the pyramids themselves.
And it is. It's much harder to explain this than the construction of the pyramids themselves. I'm going to agree with Jesse for once.
Are really hard to explain.
Yeah, but so that's the problem, though, is that's where this disintegrates from an academic conversation regarding the actual data to the leap of speculation into alien constructions, which is why the academic community has outright rejected this whole thing.
Yeah,
because there's no physical way that these could possibly have been built.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Period.
There's no way.
Yeah, but you would say the same thing about the pyramid.
No, Jesse. Stacking blocks into a pyramid shape is something that many human cultures have figured out around the world. You would not say that the pyramids are absolutely physically impossible. They are 100% possible. This is the stupidest thing ever. But look, a 2-kilometer deep megastructure that is not just dug into bedrock, because we'd see such excavations into the bedrock near the surface, but instead it's somehow built into bedrock, whatever that means, that is physically impossible. We have no data, we have no methods, we have no published results. This is all hokum. The reality is that these guys are a bunch of cranks. Dr. Corrado Malanga has a PhD in chemistry, but his main claim to fame is hypnotizing people who have been abducted by aliens. He sounds a little smooth-skulled to me, right? And then you could think about Dr. Filippo Biondi. One second, let me get this up here. This is his website right here. He is actually trained in satellite remote sensing. He's the one we were just hearing. He is the one who's claimed to have developed these methods for using SAR data to map deep underground. He is the one who, on his website at the bottom, claims to have a patent for this technology. However, well before they took to the media to trumpet their bullshit claims, the national patent from Malta, which I've tracked down, it is expired. It expired in 2024. And the International Patent Cooperation Treaty application, the one that Biondi lists on his website, that ceased in January of 2025. So a few months before they went to the press. And guess what? I asked them I said, hey, Filippo Biondi, why did you let your SAR Doppler tomography patent expire if it's so successful? I asked them about this, and I did this on Twitter, and it's clear that these podcasters, they actually pay some attention to me still, because when Biondi appeared on Joe Rogan a couple months ago in January, Joe asked him about the expired patent that I had brought up.
And there's also been some criticism that the patents have expired, but that's because you have new patents on better stuff.
Yes.
Right?
Now, Joe, I am under NDA, so we just. I think I can say something about the second patent, because just yesterday we filed the patent in USA.
Nice.
Yes.
Wow. Have any academics reached out to you in support that are interested in this and would like to explore this further?
Yes. I tell you this: there are companies related to mining and crude oil extraction, and then also water.
Nice. Wow. He filed for a patent in the US just the day before that interview. How convenient and coincidental. I mean, don't get me wrong, it still seems remarkably stupid to let a patent for such a commercially lucrative technology expire. But there you go. He says he reapplied in January. But that said, something still seems fishy, because if he filed for this new patent in January, the second patent, then why did he tell Jesse Michaels just a week ago in March that, quote, in these days we are submitting a patent in the United States?
Because we have a patent that now I am also submitting a second patent on the first patent, because I made some improvements of the technique, and so I'm in these days we are submitting in United States.
So tell me, did he lie to Joe Rogan? Did he lie to Jesse Michaels? Or is he lying to everybody? Because after all, he advertised his website on Joe Rogan a couple months ago.
If anybody wants to find more about this, where would you send them to? Is there a website that would give them more information if they want to do a deep dive?
Yes. I have a personal website, which is harmonicsar.com, and I publish the...
Say that again, harmonicsar.com,
yes.
Harmonicsar.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Go to his website. Let's do it. Here we are. Today is March 24th, 2026. You can see that down here. On his website, on Filippo Biondi's website, he has no information on any of the scans under the pyramids. Literally zero. And on top of it, if you scroll down, he still references the cancel and ceased patents that we mentioned are expired. So I don't know what to tell you. Filippo Biondi sure seems to be lying to all of us, and he's been caught red-handed doing that. And I want to note that today, just today, I've searched the USPTO patent databases as well as various international patent databases. There is not a single publicly available and non-expired patent in Biondi's name for this technology. Yes, there are the expired ones, but they're expired. The reality is that Biondi is a fraud. And Jesse Michaels over here has the nerve to give me shit for calling out these lies.
No one else is going to figure out. It's not really about the patent. So I appreciate you addressing that.
Is not so important. But and now we have a second patent. But the crucial point here is the technology, and the technology is made by hardware and software.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like, you know, I don't know why would you go out and make a YouTube video and just in this shrill way start like, you know, yelling at you instead of just be like, hey, Filippo, like, my name's Flint. Like, you know, like, why did you let your patents expire? Because that answer, you know, you have a reasonable response there. So
I don't know what to tell you, Jesse. You can call me shrill all you want. I asked Filippo Biondi on Twitter about his expired patents. He did not reply to me. I also asked him and invited him onto my channel for a conversation. I said, I'm open. This is an open invite to a live stream, unedited conversation about your evidence on my YouTube channel. I have approached him in a polite way. He is the one that has chosen not to reply to me. So I don't know what else to tell you. I'm going to make my YouTube videos. And my main point here, whether you want to hear it or not, is that you are being lied to repeatedly. There is no proof anywhere these methods work. These people could publish them if they wanted to. They have written nothing on any of these results. We have good evidence that shows there are no major megastructures under the pyramids. We understand the geology and the hydrology of the Giza Plateau, stuff that these guys have not considered with proven methods. And if you still think that there are megastructures under the Giza Plateau at this point, you are either a low IQ idiot or a liar or both. Because you know what? You make good money by airing this dude's lies. People tune in and listen. So I guess enjoy hawking this fantasy bullshit to your audience, man. You're a real upstanding citizen, eh? Regardless, I want to offer my hearty congratulations to the Cafre Project team, Doctors Corrado Malanga and Filippo Biondi. You are the big winners of the stupidest new fake archaeology claim of the year. You're also clearly liars, but that is besides the point, and it's pretty damn common in this world of fake archaeology. So let's take a brief pause before our final award for the big stupid of the year. Let's be nice for a second. We have a special category here for the smartest alternative historian out there. Because yes, there's actually a few smart ones who have done some good for our world. An honorable mention needs to go to all my fans who used to believe in fake archaeology but have now seen the light. Keep sharing your journeys. It's midnight fuel for me, okay? It's super motivating to see how many of you have been convinced to believe in evidence-based reality over fantasy. And a quick note, there's nothing wrong with fantasy as long as you realize that it's fantasy. I love a good fiction book or action movie, okay? I love to get drunk or stoned and shoot the shit about silly things. But you got to know the difference between reality and not, okay? So the award for the smartest alternative historians goes to the team of diligent researchers who are working on the granite vase mystery. This spinning vase is actually from the Cosmic Summit that we saw earlier, and it's owned by podcaster Matt Bial, who's in the background. Now, I'm working on a deep dive on this topic, and this award is not only for Bial, nor for Ben Van Kerkwyk, the YouTuber who's popularized the idea that these vases were super precise. No, this award is for the smartest alternative historians, and it goes to two people, Max Fomichev-Zamilov and Stein Gerdes. They are the people who have actually measured and analyzed the precise measurements of a wide variety of stone vases in order to assess the claims about just how precise the ancient Egyptian ones were. So, while the first set of published measurements of stone vases was on several in private collections, the reality is David Miano and others have called this out. They're in private collections. They could easily be forgeries, right? So, like Decent scientists, Max and Stein, decided to test these hypotheses by applying to measure legitimate artifacts like those in the Petrie Museum here in the UK. They then compared the measurements on these archaeological vases, ones where we know where they came from archaeologically, to modern ones that they knew were either handmade or made with machines. And guess what? The museum artifacts were not nearly as precise as machine-made vases. And the team, Stein Gerdes and Max Fomichev and others, have come around to the reality that the perfect ones are likely modern forgeries made with machines. That's why they lack archaeological context. They were sold to unsuspecting and eager buyers on the gray antiquities market. So seriously, guys, this is absolutely amazing. You put together a solid test to test these hypotheses, and you followed the evidence out of the rabbit hole. Congratulations, and especially to Max Fomichev-Zamilov. He got the results actually published, open access in a peer-reviewed journal. What was it? Nature, MPG Heritage Science, demonstrating how independent researchers are not gate-kept out of publishing. They're welcomed in if they use solid evidence, if they do proper research and they show their results in a clear, consistent, and replicable fashion. They can contribute to scientific archaeology. This is absolutely amazeballs. Bravo to Stein Gerdes. Bravo to Max Fomichev-Zamilov for being the smartest alternative historians of the year. And more on this topic in the future in a big video that takes this down. Okay. The moment we are waiting for is finally here. The big stupid of 2025 in fake archaeology. This is it. Who's got the fewest marbles rattling around in their fucking noggins? So, I'm going to give a quick honorable mention to good old Joseph Brogan. We got to mention him because when I was there in Austin with him, he told me just how fascinated he was with ancient Egypt.
I want to get to Egypt. Because I think it's one of the most bizarre accomplishments of human beings. And the age of Egypt is a fascinating piece of discussion.
It is a fascinating piece of discussion, Joe. But you are absolutely cringe. You're obsessed with Egypt. You've discussed it on countless episodes. And you simply won't read any books on it. You know so little about ancient Egypt that you say stupid things like this.
Isn't that amazing?
And listen,
you could find writing
in this
4,600. So papyrus was made with animal skin, correct?
No, papyrus was of papyrus from the papyri.
Right. What is
the papyri is just like leaves.
Okay.
The reality is that Joe loves ancient Egypt so much that his fucking noggin is empty of any facts on it. Why not? Well, here's why not.
Yeah, I mean, more of these conversations and more people have to understand that these things are being discovered and that we are kind of confused about so many things about human history. And we're being told that, no, there's people at the universities that have all the answers and that it's literally not possible that they're telling the truth. It's not possible. And that's why I get so excited about the structures under the pyramid, because it's a gigantic fuck you to all those people.
It would be, yeah.
It would be the most gigantic fuck you of all time if they found out that those scans are accurate and there's these pillars that are wrapped in coils that go down like hundreds of meters, and then below them there's additional structures and the whole...
Nah, man. Fuck you. You're clearly not interested in the truth. You're clearly not interested in evidence. All you want to do is shit on scholars like me, those that tell you the reality of our history. You just want to do a big fuck you to us because it's really clear those scans are not accurate. You are just believing and spreading a bunch of lies. But okay, this is not in contention for the big stupid of 2025. It is worth mentioning, though, because all of the stupidity in the world of fake archaeology, or at least almost all of it, passes right through Joe Rogan. And it's really clear he does not give a shit about the truth. He just wants to dunk on us. That's it. Okay, so who are the contenders for the big stupid of 2025? So, in third place comes our favorite cave troll, Dan Richards, the man whose cranium is absolutely vacant. Look, this guy doesn't really deserve a mention because he is flailing big time right now, not getting any views. All of his videos for 2026, you add up the views cumulatively, they equal the views of my last video debunking Professor Zhang. So, to be honest, he's not worth talking about for too long. But he really did make a really funny boneheaded mistake last year in this video that apparently reveals the lies of Egyptology.
A little over a month ago, the Egyptian Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities announced that it had found a new tomb in Saqqara. Oh, well, a new to us tomb. It's an ancient tomb. It's said to house the first 5th dynasty pharaohs, Userkaf's son.
The first 5th dynasty pharaohs.
Userefre. And this tomb is said to be noteworthy because it has the largest door to nowhere, fake doors that are a common feature in Egyptian tombs. This one's 14 foot tall, 3 foot wide, and pink granite. It is impressive. It's nothing to be scoffed at. However, it's not the most impressive feature of the find, in my opinion, and the most impressive thing to come out of the find, in my opinion, would just happen to be the fact that we are getting 2 different stories from official sources on the nature of this find. So strap yourselves in, grab something to drink, kick your feet up, get ready to hear me mispronounce some more names.
No, the most impressive feature about this fucking tomb is that you're an idiot. Like, because seriously, the Egyptian officials have not released 2 conflicting stories. Dan is just so fucking illiterate. He cannot read properly. He conflated the discovery of 2 completely different tombs that were announced around the same time. One was in Abydos, excavated by an American team, Joseph Wagner. I know him. He's at the University of Pennsylvania. And another was in Saqqara, excavated by an Egyptian team. And let's be clear, these 2 sites are nowhere near each other. Abydos is in Upper Egypt. Saqqara is in Lower Egypt. But here goes Dan.
But my point here is that it's kind of interesting that we're getting really vastly different information. The Abydos dynasty is between the 15th and 16th, like I said. Userkaf is from the 5th dynasty, the first pharaoh of the 5th dynasty. We're talking like 900 years here, okay? The differences that are going to be in that tomb are staggering, all right? We're getting 2 different stories. As a matter of fact, there's more evidence that we're getting 2 different stories. When you look at the information that they gave us on the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities.
Yeah, dude, we're getting 2 different stories here because it's 2 different fucking stories. It's only your illiterate fantasy idiocy that has decided these 2 different tombs from hundreds of miles apart and nearly a millennium apart are somehow the same story. It's your stupid self that has decided official sources are lying. You are so stupid, Dan, that I'm amazed you have the cognitive capacity to speak. The reality is that fake archaeologists are so stupid that when the evidence disagrees, the evidence is what must be wrong. And in this case, it's clear that Dan is also being extremely dishonest. Despite having been informed that he made a mistake conflating these 2 tombs in May of last year when he published the video, he's left that video up. He's not added any corrections below the video in the details for people who might watch it. Why not? Because it's his 2nd most popular video on his YouTube channel. It's now been seen 308,000 times, about 100,000 new views since I last covered this fuck up last summer. So people just keep clicking on it because he calls us liars, when in fact he's just a fucking grifting idiot. But Jesus, guys, it just gets worse. It only gets worse. Okay, so our runner-up for the big stupid of 2025 is none other than Dumb Insight, also known as Jimmy Corsetti. This dude has been spreading a conspiracy for the last 2 years that excavations at Göbekli Tepe have been shut down and that archaeologists have covered up the site with olive trees. Look, these claims are stupid and false. Plenty of people have documented why these are stupid, dumb lies. You can check out, for example, the overview that Professor Dave Explains made on Jimmy Corsetti.
And there are hundreds more. Anything that comes out of Jimmy's dumb mouth about this place is either a lie or utterly trivial knowledge that anyone could find in a 10-second Google search. And again, excavation is consistent and ongoing. This is basically what all of his content is like, vaguely gesturing at a cool site, making up a bunch of bullshit, and then peppering in fantasies about global cataclysms or Nikola Tesla, or whatever will get his idiot followers dicks hard. Textbooks have been debunked. Scientists are censoring new discoveries. In reality, when new discoveries revise existing knowledge, new editions of textbooks are amended to reflect the new information, just like with any other field of science. And the idea that archaeologists are hiding discoveries that would make them more successful is fucking idiotic.
So he's been spreading this lie about the excavations at Göbekli Tepe, but in March of 2025, he had the brilliant idea, Mr. Dumb Insight Jimmy Corsetti, to fly to Turkey and check out things firsthand. You know, do some boots on the ground research.
I basically went there with the intention of conducting an archaeological audit of sorts to evaluate the entire situation with my own eyes and, of course, my camera lens. So this video is part 1, and I'm going to share a number of alarming and disturbing things with you. And my next video will be part 2, which will really put the nail in the coffin to show that there is something incredibly wrong happening at Göbekli Tepe, and the entire world has a right to know what it is. On-site security specifically instructed us to not take any photos or videos of these holes. The guy literally stated that it is, quote, prohibited. And to be honest, I still would have taken the photos anyway, but the truth is that we had already taken the photos and videos prior to being told that we weren't allowed to. And that was simply due to our small group having split up, and he was taking turns visiting us around different parts of the site at different times. So unfortunately for him, we beat him to it, and he never had any idea. And I honestly have absolutely no regrets for possessing these photos and videos.
This is absolutely the stupidest thing I've ever fucking seen. Jimmy Corsetti is a clown who knows nothing about archaeology or site management or just like how to do anything. Like, I wonder why the deep, deep holes where roof columns are going to be placed are prohibited for the public to snoop around. Maybe, Jimbo, it's because they don't want anybody to fall in, or get hurt. Maybe sue them. This is pretty standard when you have a hole. You don't let people fucking play with it because some of you idiots might fall into that. Have you ever thought about it? Ever at all? You're just being stupid, harassing some poor Turkish security guard on an archaeological site and pretending to be some investigator doing some audit or some bullshit like that. What a fucking dingbat. What just pure donkey-brained idiocy is this? And, when Jimmy got back, he actually claimed it was because of him that the olive trees at Göbekli Tepe were removed, which I want to be really clear is false. As the YouTuber Veritas at Caritas has reported right here on YouTube, the UNESCO report, which is publicly available and filed nearly a decade ago, has had a plan in place to remove these trees. These were all part of the plan. You did nothing, Jimmy.
Is an indisputable, explicit statement dating to the end of 2017 that the excavation team were already aware of the potential danger of the olive tree roots on the unexcavated archaeological remains and that they planned to remove them. Jimmy was not the first to identify the potential risk of the olive tree roots, nor the first to call for their removal, nor did the excavation team only decide to remove them as a result of his tweets and YouTube videos.
Look, Jimmy didn't do shit other than act like an asshole on YouTube and X.com. By the way, go check out the deep dives on this topic by Veritas at Caritas if you want the nitty-gritty details. He's documented everything really explicitly. So why did Jimmy do this absolutely stupid trip to Turkey? Well, of course, all roads lead through Joey Rogan. It's good old Joe that convinced him it would be a great idea. Because after all, Jimmy was initially a fucking coward, a scared pussy, scared of the idea that traveling to Turkey because he was worried his lies had gotten him in trouble with the Turkish authorities.
This is hilarious. So after my video came out, what's his name? Kurul. What's his name? Dr. Kurul. So the head of archaeology in Turkey took great issue with my conspiracy theories on it, and he was quoted in an article saying that I should be sanctioned, and then he followed up with like, I will be sanctioned. And I'm like, well, how are you going to keep me out of Göbekli Tepe? Have I been banned from Turkey? Because American citizens don't need a visa to go into Turkey unless they're going to be there more than 90 days. So there's if I could apply ahead of time. Like in Egypt, you can apply for your tourism visa ahead of time, and I know if I was rejected. That's what he said, is that I'll be sanctioned. He was referring to me, and I'm like, okay.
What does that mean?
Well, it means travel bans.
Yeah, it means you're not going to let him in the country.
It means I go to the airport to get rejected at customs potentially.
And that is possibly what would happen.
He said it will happen. I don't know that it's happened. Well,
no, he didn't.
Flights to Turkey are actually a little bit pricey, and I'm like, well, damn it. I'm like, if I'm going to land there and get turned around, that would suck.
Well, you might be able to make a nice video about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be actually. Yeah. You're right. That's a video.
Sure. I mean, kind of like helps you.
Right. I'm over the target with Göbekli Tepe.
Right.
Yeah, Joe is like, go ahead, antagonize these Turkish archaeologists. If they actually try to do anything about it, you'll just get more views, man. And Jimmy's light bulb goes off in his head. He buys his ticket and he goes, look, the reality is that everything here is total bullshit. Jimmy was never sanctioned. Dr. Nechmi Karul never said Jimmy was sanctioned. He was quoted saying, I wish I could sanction people who are lying. Because that's all Jimmy's done is lie and harass these people. He went to Turkey, he made his stupid videos, and all he's accomplished is harassing archaeologists who work at Göbekli Tepe. This shit is so fucking stupid. It is like the stupidest fucking shit in the entire archaeology world. Except it's not. It gets even stupider. Like I said at the start, we can mock these idiots till the cows come home, and we will, and we have. It's way too much fun not to. But the stupid awards here are focusing on impact. And yes, I'm not going to deny it. Jimmy Corsetti has an impact. I've talked with people on the Göbekli Tepe team. They feel like they are being harassed by him. Same thing with Joe and Graham and Dan. They have all directly harassed a variety of scholars and archaeologists. But the reality is that there's no greater impact than prominent politicians spouting off on fake archaeology. And so I present to you the 2025 award for the big, stupid, and fake archaeology, and it goes to U.S. Congressman Representative Erich Burleson for being an absolute fucking smooth-brained dingbat. Here you go. Enjoy this, because this is... Whew.
I mean, not to nerd out a little bit, but I think that quantum entanglement in and of itself proves that there is something deeper than the existence that we live on.
Mm-hmm.
So... But you know, if you talk about do beings exist in that higher dimension, that's another question. Yeah. So I remain skeptical, but like you, I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. Mm-hmm. I believe that angels exist. What commonly comes up is how there is a way that it fits within the biblical narrative, and how many times in the Bible that you know, while they call them angels, but at the end of the day, when you look at it, they're not from Earth. Like these are,
and they're described
beings.
They don't look like a human, you know, the way they're described. They do look kind of odd if you actually look at the biblical description of these angels.
Let's not forget about the reptilians. Yeah. We got the reptilians like, I don't know.
The Anunnaki. Okay, wait,
Hillary Clinton herself, there might be a reptilian been controlling this government for a long time, dude.
Okay, no, you're making a joke, but why? I bet Rep will believe this. Rep, they call me crazy, but I think there was giants. I believe in the Nephilim. I do believe that was real, Rep, and they're gonna clip this and call you crazy.
I am definitely clipping him and calling him crazy, by the way.
Were giants ever real, in your opinion, Rep? I hope this doesn't get you canceled.
No, I'm going to say I do believe that they were real.
Thank you. Yes, this is a real guy.
Hallelujah!
Because there's no way, it's especially all the pyramids and all this stuff, there's definitely some bigger human beings. I think we are kind of the offspring of that. Wow, Rep, you're so based in reality.
Actually, I'm going to a conference. I'm going to a conference tomorrow, this weekend, that's called NEFCON. It's being hosted by a guy named Tim Alberino, who is, you know, you got to look up Tim Alberino. He's done a lot of work on a lot of this topic. I was introduced to him after my first hearing when we had David Grush come in and the UAP hearing. I have friends from back home that tell me, you got to listen to his podcast because he has a very different perspective. I listened to it and it was a rabbit hole that I ended up listening to the entire...
Wait, time out. How deep down the rabbit hole did you go? Did you get to the part where the Smithsonian's hiding the bones? Did you get to that part of the rabbit hole yet?
Yes.
Yeah. And isn't it weird though?
And guess what?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm on oversight, so we have oversight over the Smithsonian.
Well, let's go in there and look. I'll help you guys. I'll bring the flashlights. I mean, I'll probably accidentally break something. Let somebody don't let me touch it because I'll mess something up. But at the end of Indiana Jones, and I believe this, could call me crazy, there's more truth in the movies than there is, there's truth in the movies, lies in the news. I almost believe movies are more real than.
You're right. There's a lot of lies on this news show. I fully agree with you, Alex Stein. There's a ton of lies on Prime Time with Alex Stein right now.
I know that, and that sounds kind of crazy, but they tell us a lot of stuff in movies. Kind of predictive programming is what they call it. And in Indiana Jones, well, I'm just saying, in Indiana Jones, they're fighting for the most important thing. What is it again? What is they're fighting for?
Ark of the Covenant.
Ark of the Covenant, duh. And then at the end of the movie, they get the Ark of the Covenant, and what do? They put it in a little crappy wooden box and under a pile of a bunch of junk. They don't even know what it is. So it's like there's stuff in the Smithsonian that paints and tells a picture, tells a story that they don't want us to know. So, Rep, are you seriously going to investigate the Smithsonian? I'm pumped up. This is like good news. This is music to my ears, sir.
We've got to figure out a strategy behind that. So I'll be happy to work with you on that.
Please, I will go after him. Like I said, I'll live in there. Night at the Museum is my favorite movie. I don't mind hanging out with Robin Williams, and rest in peace.
Oh my God, this has to be the fucking stupidest shit related to archaeology that I have ever heard from a politician. He seriously believes that AI video we saw earlier with giants is real. They're hiding the bones. They're hiding the bones. Look, this U.S. Congressman, Eric Burleson, actually believes this shit. And as he said, he's actually in a position to oversee the Smithsonian Institute. This is fucking lunacy. And of course, he even presented his stupidity to a bunch of gullible idiots at another one of those fake archaeology conferences. This all wraps up so neatly with Burleson. We can see the vortex of these lying grifters and these gullible idiots coming together in an absolute tsunami of absolute bullshit fake archaeology. It's engulfing our society right now. We should be absolutely terrified. I keep saying absolutely, I know, but we should absolutely be terrified of this scientific illiteracy. We should be scared of the fact that people are boosted for outright lying, whether about their patents that they don't have, or there being two digs that are actually one dig that are whatever, digs in Egypt, or these fake videos that are all over. They're all fake, 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 fake. And millions of people believe this shit, including some reasonably powerful politicians. This is code red. It is time throughout our society to stand up for science and for fact-based reality. Here on Archaeology with Flint Dibble, I will keep working to share the real history of our human past, and I will keep mocking these fucking stupid dorks with my shrill voice, Jesse Michaels, because these people are stupid. They're fucking idiots. Congratulations, Congressman Burleson. You have won the Big Stupid Award for 2025 in fake archaeology. You absolutely deserve it. That's all for today. Love and archaeology to everybody. I'll see you next time.
Rhymes and riddles, tickle, tickle, giggles, squiggle, jiggle, fiddle,